It is absolutely brutal.
I
I guess
Does it like not stop raining where you are, apparently?
apparently not. We had 2 good days, and now it's just going to be raining for the rest of the week. And I don't even know about next week. But actually, this is a really good thing to bring up because things don't always go to plan. And when anyone's approaching a fat loss journey, we kind of approach it without thinking, oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? So as soon as some kind of sticky point or friction comes up, we throw our hands in the air. We're not good enough. We're going to fail. We can't do it right. And something that's actually been coming up a lot in conversations recently with my girls, and I'm sure you can bring up some client like examples as well, is uh, everything's just getting a little hectic right now. I can't do this. Let's just put it on hold. And I can't focus on this stuff. And it's like, but the point of a coach isn't to tell you what to eat and how to train. You can get that shit offline. Like, that stuff means nothing if you haven't like worked on the mindset to get over the humps. It's supposed to fit in with your life. It's not an on and off switch. If you're going to keep switching it off every time the life gets bumpy, you're never really going to get to the end destination. And a lot of the time people will say, oh, now I have to go back to the start, or I need to restart all over, or I'm just going to have to jump back on track. But what is a track if it's not something that's going to fit into all the craziness of life? Because you're never going to have a smooth sailing journey. Like when this place was booked, we didn't even think that it was going to start raining again because we had such a good streak of good weather. And it's the same with like, you start a journey, for example, and what examples can you think of?
Oh God, I mean, gosh, there's so many. And my clients lately, so you start a journey and you end up getting sick, or someone in your family gets sick. I've had a lot of clients who have had to deal with, yeah, family members getting sick, like having to care for older parents and, drive out of town to deal with that. So they're out of their routine. They're not able to make it to the gym. They're not in control of their food, things like that. Jobs get really stressful. Kids go back to school. They're traveling, like you name it, something can happen. And that exactly what you said. There's the whole like, well, I'll get to this when life slows down. I'm sorry, life is never slowing down until you're dead. Well, maybe until you like retire and your kids are out of the house. But if you are like the majority of our clients who are likely busy professionals, or if they're not working, they're at least, stay-at-home moms. I mean, because we work predominantly with women, and there's always going to be something that comes up. So the reframe that I like to challenge them with is think about this process, this lifestyle, not as something that you have to do and that you have to fit around your life, but that fits into your life and that allows you to stay focused, to stay grounded, to stay present, and still like respect yourself even when everything else is chaotic. Like, this is your anchor, this is your grounding tool. It's not the thing that I have to do.
Yeah, and it's almost as though we allow it to take over our life. Like, I was planning a video yesterday talking about how I used to let a missed rep or feeling weak in one session impact the rest of my mood for the day. And it like, we start off with good intentions, but then it gets to a point where it's like, are you determining your worth based off how much you get done, how many boxes you tick, how well you do?
Mm-hmm.
Because your worth isn't determined on that stuff. And something Marcy and I have spoken about on our last 3 podcasts now, including the live, is that I guess perfectionists and people that always strive to be their best always seem to have a plate full of shit to do. Like, we clear the plate and then we find things to add back to the plate. So we are constantly creating our own chaotic mess. It is not about the fact that you're busy. It's about the fact that you're busy with stuff that takes away from the person that you want to become, that leaves you feeling unconfident. That's a word. That leaves you feeling unconfident, that leaves you feeling like you don't have any time for yourself. You're dissatisfied with your body, this, that, the other. And this is probably the best place to say this now instead of me doing another video. And it is, your body image has nothing to do with what your body looks like. It really doesn't. You can have an amazing looking body, but if you haven't sorted in here and actually got your priorities straight, knowing that you're working on yourself, you are never going to be satisfied with that body. It's never going to feel like enough.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't even know how to quantify enough or whatever there is yet, because you've never allowed yourself to be happy in the moment. And if you strive for this body goal and you get that body goal, you won't even realize it, because if you get there without fixing the mindset in the process and knowing that what you're doing is actually adding to the rest of your life, no confidence comes with that. Like, it's hard to even get to that goal or whatever that body is if you haven't realized how this actually is adding to your life and you have control over your food again.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's also that whole thing of like the final destination where everyone thinks like I'm going to be happy when, and like when I get the body, when I've achieved X, and very rarely is that case. Or is that the case because, like you were saying, we do talk to, and we've been that ourselves, the perfectionist, the overachiever. And so when you do get there, wherever there is, then you're just moving the proverbial goalpost. It's never enough. Now it's like on to the next, right? And so you don't really take the time to feel satisfaction for what you've accomplished. But then also, like, if you're only focusing on the end goal, then you're not enjoying the journey, as a whole. So like I said this last week in a post, like it's not, there's a reason it's called a fitness journey and not a fitness final destination, right? Because you want to be more engaged in the process and who that allows you to become than whatever you achieve like when you get there. Because when you do, then more times than not, you're just like, you feel the sense of gratification for, I don't know, a couple hours, maybe a day, and then you're right back down to baseline. And that's the other reason why like quick fix approaches don't work. Or I've said, if you woke up tomorrow in your dream body, you had everything that you wanted, yet you took a magic pill and you didn't do the work to achieve it, it would not have been as rewarding, because you wouldn't have learned about yourself in the process. You wouldn't have actually like become that person who can achieve it, but who can also hold that result. That's really what it's about.
Yes, yes, this is actually a good, yeah, we need to make a point to celebrate the small boxes checked as well. That's something that a lot of people don't do. Like, you are so busy striving for whatever it is you're striving for that anything in the meantime is meaningless. Like, yeah, well, it's just this, it's only this, it's not this yet. You still focus on how far you have to go. And when you are just chasing that end outcome, you lose the reason behind why you're even chasing it. And then all of a sudden it becomes a numbers game. I did a video yesterday. This one I didn't share to my profile grid, so it's in the videos. But we get to a point where we start trying to accumulate so much information, learn all the things, that all of a sudden our life is dictated by numbers. We have smartwatches now. What is it that people start tracking? Oh, I need to track my resting heart rate. Oh, I need to track my heart rate variability. Oh, now I need to do my blood pressure. Now I need to worry about my heart rate being between here and here for this many minutes, and then I have to make sure I do these steps. It's like, oh, now there's sleep quality on the watch. Let me check that up. Oh, there's recovery. Like, there are so many numbers that can start to take over our life. It's like those numbers, knowledge bomb. The numbers are actually meaningless. Even the averages are meaningless without your qualitative feedback, because something that might look good on paper might feel like shit to you still. Something that feels good to you might feel shit for someone else. And another thing is, if you look at your watch and you're like, oh, I had a shit sleep. Like, did you just see my expression there? I feel amazing. Look at my watch. Oh, I had a shit sleep. Now it's going to be a shit day. Now my training's going to be shit.
Yes.
Now I'm going to start craving carbs.
Yeah.
And this happens the same with menstrual cycles. People expect to crave chocolate, so they crave chocolate. Like, it's you craving the food, saying that you're the victim to this PMS week that makes it so. Because, yeah, we do actually have the hormonal changes that happen in our PMS week and feel a certain way. But you make it worse by hyper focusing on it and preempting these things that happen. And you don't want your life to suck because you're sucking the life out of it by not only numbers taking over your life, but waiting for a certain time to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to talk about the post that I shared with you because that was the one that you wrote. You can't, yeah, it's not a one and done. And if you've even seen my stories this whole day, I had a 950 calorie dinner. I had half a box, literally half a box of cereal for the meal in between dinner, lunch and dinner. And then for lunch, I had a whole foot long of Subway. Like, I don't usually go away at all. And I don't usually eat in a way that's just like, I'm going to try and fit this to my plan. Because usually when I eat out, I fit shit to my plan, I track it, I make sure that it's fitting in with my goals. But people always want to get things so perfect that they would have done what I did, but then continued to self-sabotage and had a negative thought on it. And you know what's funny? I actually wanted more food after I already ate all that because I wasn't feeling shit for myself. My body didn't respond to it in a stressed out way because I didn't approach it like, oh, fuck, there's only Thai food or, oh, this, that. I actually approached my dinner with the thought, I'm not going to just get that protein because that's not going to fill me up. And I don't know how big that serving size is going to be. So I'm going to get a meal that comes with a shitload of carbs because carbs are a lot more satiating than fats for starters. And without carbs, protein doesn't really do that much for me. If I was in a fat loss phase, it'll be a different story. But at the same time, that one event is not going to impact the rest of my life. And people approach it already setting themselves up for failure, let alone having done the thing itself.
Mm-hmm. What do you want me to speak on towards that? I feel like we've kind of...
That really relates to a lot of the posts that both of us have been sharing, and the fact that, yes, it's not a one and done, and you always trying to chase this weight loss goal is keeping you from realizing that that is just a small part of the equation. Because you can, the more restrictions you put on yourself, the more that you fear stuff like this, the more you are keeping yourself away from ever actually attaining that body. Because I'm like, I ate like a friggin', I don't know, obese person. But that's not my end outcome because I don't live that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yet people are so scared to just have a moment like that that adds to their life, that makes living a leaner lifestyle that much more effortless because you're not always trying to treat each meal like a party in your mouth.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, that's very true. And to like to your point about, just allowing yourself to enjoy that and then move on rather than continue to beat or rather like to beat yourself up. I have all these people like messaging me. It's very distracting. Sorry. But yeah, like when you beat yourself up and you say like, "Oh, I've already blown it," then that is what triggers your mindset to say like, "Well, then I might as well keep going." Right? And then they do, and they don't know, they can't get off that like, or out of that vicious cycle, and it just perpetuates itself. And that's actually the post that I put up right before you and I got on the live about like what I call the sense of urgency to lose the weight. And I said, because it all goes back to mindset, right? And I said, like, it's your sense of urgency to lose weight, the extreme methods that you will use to do so, that keeps you in this cycle of losing the weight and regaining it in the first place, because you are trying to go about it in the most restrictive and extreme way possible, thinking that that is what is going to get you the results. And like I was saying earlier, like, diets work, right? Everyone's just like, oh, diets don't work. Well, no, they do, because they allow you to lose the weight, but people cannot keep them off because they're trying to do something so drastic, and they're not like seeing this as an apt or as an actual like lifestyle that they cultivate. That's something that just becomes like who they are, a part of their identity, not something that they are like either on or off.
Yeah, that's that goes back to what we said at the start of this call as well. But in that, it's almost like the sense of urgency, yes, but I think people get into this confliction with themselves where it's like they know they need to lose weight because they have a lot of fat on them. You are not fat, you have body fat. They have a lot of fat on them. I know I need to lose weight, but everyone's saying that I need to eat more. But everyone's saying that I need to eat less. But I
Mm.
need to do a crash diet. It's like, yes, okay, you need to diet and you need to lose weight if you have excess body fat on you. So yes, you are meant to go into a deficit first. You are meant to go into a fat loss phase first. But the prerequisite of that isn't just the fact of eating enough for long enough. It's getting your mindset in the right place first. That's what we mean by the sense of urgency. It's not, nah, let's just get you to eat all these carbs, train this hard, and not worry about the fact that you need to lose weight. Because I think a lot of people get that mixed message and then they're so confused that they go to the quick fixes.
Mm.
No, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you lose that fat and get your dream body. We're here to get you out of your shell. But there is no point even starting that journey if you aren't mentally ready. And that is something Marcy and I both come up with more times than not, which is what gets people stuck in these hormonal and metabolic issues that can so, like, you don't need some magic pill and a crazy shitload of supplements to fix that. It's getting your mindset and lifestyle good enough for long enough, and then everything starts to respond to that. Yet
Mm.
people trying to sell you a $3,000 friggin' quick fix of whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but you're so easy to fall for that because you don't kind of resonate. You only listen to the messages that resonate with your message that is in your head. So
Mhm.
when you see people saying these other messages, you want to do that rebellious child act and do the quick fix or whatever it is that you want to do. But yeah, we want you to lose weight. And it's not about eating enough for long enough. It's about getting your mindset right first and eating enough for long enough with that, but getting your mindset in a place first to be able to go through that fat loss phase. And I can't remember the other post that you put up that I shared with you that I was like, this is something we both need to ramp on about more. But if you, yeah, it was about chasing the scale weight as well, because the more that you focus on that scale weight, the more down you are going to feel because we're led to believe that we need to make these massive changes. Otherwise, the changes mean nothing at all.
Mhm.
So regardless of whether it's, that actually leads into what we both just said, regardless of whether it's trying to get yourself mentally into the right spot, no one really wants to do that because you can't see any physical benefits from it. So why bother? If
Mhm.
it's not seeing the physical benefits drastically, there's no point. And the last thing I want to say before you talk about all of that, because there's, you can probably rant on for ages about this, is my body has been in better places. My strength has been in better places, which a lot of people don't know because I post like a 130 kilo deadlift and everyone acts as though I made this huge feat. I'm like, I used to deadlift 170, 180. But that's the point. Like, your journey isn't just a straightforward cut from A to B. So many things happen in between. Am I down about the fact that I can't still deadlift almost 200 kilos? Well, it would be cool if I could, but I don't really give a shit because how's that adding to my life and everything I've gained in the process?
Mhm.
How about the fact that I was on stage as a figure competitor? Do I still want to look like that? Does Marcy still want to have all the amazing things she had before? Well, she's gained so much in all other areas of her life, like I have in the meantime. We've been through different things. And none of that, it's just like having a plastic trophy. What does that plastic trophy add to your life?
Well, exactly. I mean, it's a sense of accomplishment for sure, but you have to think like, what did I have to give up in order to achieve that? So just like all these people who are saying, well, I really want to get back into, size X clothes, or I want to be the same that I was in high school, or, the way that I was before I had my baby. It's like, okay, well, that's in the past. So let's let that go and use all of that energy that you were putting towards thinking about it and wishing that you still had that, or, hoping that you're going to get back to it, and put that energy towards like what you can accomplish moving forward. Because the thing is, like, if you actually try a different approach, because a lot of times what people were doing when they were that weight or when they were that size isn't actually like what they want, and like ultimately, right? So for me, it's like, oh, if I want to go back to my college weight of 95 pounds, where I was so disordered and restricted, and I was getting up every day at 5:30 in the morning to do an hour of cardio, and then coming back at night and lifting weights and restricting my food. Like, yeah, I was like super lean, but I was also miserable, and my health was in the tank, and my relationships were shit. So is the juice really worth the squeeze in that situation? And most of the time it's not. And who knows, like, maybe, like, there are those people who, like, oh, I let myself go, and it's like, okay, well, sure, then compare yourself to the time of your life when you were taking good care of yourself, when you did feel good about yourself. But if your circumstances now are totally different as well, like if you are no longer a single person who has no responsibilities, doesn't have a full-time job, doesn't, then it's going to be even more difficult to be able to do the things that you did that allowed you to have that result. So yeah, focus on what you can do now. Huh?
That part is actually really true. Like, do you have any clients that you can relate to in that instance as well? Like, where they were single, they had all these restrictions, but now they're finding it hard to juggle parent life, because it's so true.
I'm trying to think. Not that I like worked with when they were single and now they are parents, but yes, I mean, where like in general that has been the situation. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, but going on what you said as well, when we reflect on the past, we only remember the good feelings, we only remember the good stuff. And I still have to dig into the research that I pulled up, but memories that we have of the past aren't actually true. Like, they aren't. Whatever you can recollect of the past isn't exactly how that reality was, just like the reality around you now isn't reality itself. The world is as you see it. But that also, over time, gets distorted and contorted based on what has happened from where you were, wherever it was, to now, and all the experiences in between. But you tend to cling on to, oh, that was when I got my best results. That's when I was at my leanest. If that's what you think your worth is based on, that's what you're going to want to gravitate back to. But with the parental situation, I do actually have a client like this, who she was doing like this strict diet with this strict plan and sticking to it really well. She said that she felt her best in it, but that's because her best was her thinking of best as being strict, being disciplined. That was what she based her worth off, being perfect. And also the fact that she was smashing herself with over an hour's worth of sessions more than 5 times a week, doing this CrossFit stuff as well. Like, that's what she based her worth off. Being exhausted and feeling like she worked hard and like she's working hard, doing hard shit. So it's like, is the juice worth the squeeze? Like, is that really life though? Do you want your life to be like you're living in the friggin' army?
Yeah.
Because now she actually has a new partner and she's a stepmom. It's like, there's no way that you can stick to a strict plan
To achieve that. And yeah, is it really worth it? Because I mean, I know when I was at my like very leanest, I was also my most miserable. And I think we talked about this on the last live. Like, the best shape that I was ever in was when my marriage ended, and I wasn't the one who ended it. It was because like I was so into myself that I couldn't give the other person like what they needed. And so he's like, peace out, I'm gonna go find someone who can. And I was devastated. But and you would think that would be a wake-up call, but I continued to repeat the same pattern until finally I was like, oh, all right, now I get it. And I always say this, like, people care more about how you make them feel, not how you look. And I think a lot of times we seek out that validation in our body, thinking that that is going to be like what makes us good enough, what makes us desirable, what makes us lovable, what makes us like accepted. And that first has to come, from you. Like it's an inward thing. And if you cannot love and accept yourself as you are, then, don't think that anybody else is either.
Yeah. See, when I think back to when I was at my leanest, which I couldn't even get skin folds done on me because you couldn't actually pinch any skin. I was that lean. I don't actually remember being miserable. And that's why I brought up the fact that we don't really remember the bad stuff. Because I literally don't remember struggling. But what I do remember that I see so many people do now is the thing that led me to have a belly that looked like I was pregnant to 5 people 24/7. But I used to always hoard my food for nighttime, hoard my calories because I was on like 1100, 1200 calories. But the thing is, people live on that right now and they think that that is how they should be eating.
Mm-hmm.
And like that is living on it. For a lot of people, like if people need to dip down that low for a fat loss phase, it's not something you should be living on. It should be like a 4 week to 6 week thing maximum if you need to dip down that low, which some women do. Like some women, yeah, you probably do as well because you're small. Some people need to dip down to the 1,000, 1,100, 1,200 calories, but not live there.
Right.
4, 6 weeks max.
Yep.
But back to what I was saying, I used to hoard a lot of my food for nighttime. So what did I fill my day with? Friggin' plates this big of salad, diet jelly, diet this, diet that. Let's get Walden Farm syrup. Let's add in some marshmallow fluff. Like, my guts hated me, but I loved my last meal. Like, all I could think about was food. I don't remember struggling. I don't remember having any energy issues or anything at my worst. I don't remember anything bad, but I do remember that. And what do I remember from that? It took so much from my business, and my business is my main love. Like, there is nothing that fulfills me more than serving clients and making an impact. Mm-hmm. So the fact that that was holding me back from, relate this to your true values, your family, your kids. This was holding me back from mine. And it didn't even occur to me then. It held me back from that much. Mm-hmm. Because, yes, you can, like, it's meant to fit into your life. It is meant to. And when it can't, it shouldn't be for more than a few weeks at a time. But it can only be for like 4, 6 weeks if you're freaking consistent and intense with it. You need to be intense with, like, no one can be intense enough or put enough effort into a fat loss phase if this fat loss phase is something that if you think you're meant to be doing for months and years on end. Like, how can you actually give your best to something that you think is going to last forever, and it's something that's miserable, unsustainable, and stops you from enjoying some of the foods that you love?
Right.
So you do need to make trade-offs. Yes, you're going to have to say no. Yes, you need boundaries. But that shit shouldn't last for your life. You need to get it, like, that's why you need to heal your relationship with food and realize you can eat all the foods, but not all of the time at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I always say, like, get in and get out as fast as you can. And that's why, having like a high level of adherence is so helpful, because then you're not going to drag the process out forever. And you're not going to be on the wagon, off the wagon, which then just keeps you in this deficit mindset, right? Where you think that you're in a diet, or you think that you're in a deficit, but you're really not. Like, you're more at maintenance most of the time. But because you're so food focused, but because you're so focused on the scale, like what it's doing or what it's not doing, am I making progress? Am I not? Yet every time you have a slip up, you go completely off the rails. So you end up just kind of like at this like weird like maintenance limbo type of phase. Then you're going to be on the roller coaster forever, So it's like, yeah, just like suck it up, get it done, get out, and move on with your life. It doesn't have to be that complicated.
That goes back to what you were saying before, and what I was saying too about the post you said about the fact that you can't just have this, what was the way you phrased it? Like, just wanting it done mentality. Because in that same route, like, yeah, okay, you may not have been dieting, but you mentally have. So no, you're actually ready to just start a fat loss phase right now, because you're never going to, I'm sorry, like I hate being negative, but you're never going to be consistent until you fix that. And this actually comes down to you also being honest with yourself. Too many people are in denial.
Mm.
This is, we haven't spoken about enough, but I know you can talk about this for days on end. But we are not honest with ourselves. And if you have a coach, not honest with your coach, like your coach can't help you if you're not going to actually be detailed with them. You can't just say, I'm finding it hard to stick to my food. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Sally. That ain't helping me. Like, if you're going to come to us with such a blatant statement with no detail and then keep struggling with no detail and then for not contact us and then come back again with the same struggle without actually, like, if the coach is actually trying to ask the questions, but you need to actually dig deep into what is going on so that we can help you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can help yourself, because you can't help yourself as well, because it's not just the coach, it's you that needs to help yourself. But unless you can get really honest with yourself and go into excruciating detail about what is triggering this, what's triggering that, what thoughts are going on in your mind, why is it this particular food, why can't you, knowing that you can eat all the foods, but obviously not all at once at the same time, knowing that you can eat all the foods, still have this temptation? Like, what is going on mentally? What's going on emotionally? We can't help you without you having the conversation with us. You can't help yourself without you having the conversation with yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a two-way street. So I was having a conversation with a client about this today, and it's like, yeah, you have to be brutally honest. I know it's difficult because people feel a lot of shame. They're embarrassed. Like, no one wants to, I shouldn't say no one, but it can be difficult to come to your coach and say, hey, like, I messed up. I overate. I, did whatever. Yeah, I do think that there's a sense of shame around that. And so they stay silent. But that's the thing. It's like, then, you're only hurting yourself if you're not being completely honest, because then I don't have all of the information that I need to help and support you.
Yeah. And then they want to just, that's when people say, no, things are too busy right now. No, things are too hectic right now. No, I just want to give up. No, I'm just gonna wait it off. I'm going to put it on pause and then come back later. It's like that later will never.
Like, oh yeah, can I just like take a break? It's like, okay. I mean, why? I've been with my coach for 3 years this month. And I always joke, like, I just have him on retainer in case shit hits the fan because I don't need the accountability at this point. Like, I mean, I have some health issues that I'm continuing to work through that, because healing is not linear and, stuff happens in life and you kind of have a regression. And so, like, I'm grateful that I have him for that when I need to. But I don't just say, like, oh, life is really busy, Vince, so, like, I'm going to take a break. I'll come back in 6 months. Like, I know not everybody has the luxury of, like, being able to afford a coach, just like to have there, when needed. But if you say, like, life is really busy, I'm going to take a break, it's like, well, you're probably doing yourself a disservice, because that's when you need the coach the most. Because if you have not solidified this for yourself, then good luck keeping up with the habits when life gets overwhelming and everything else starts to become more of a priority.
It's actually those times. Yeah, it's those times you need help the most, because
it's about progress. It can be just about maintenance, right? Like, let me support you in maintaining this.
Maintenance is progress, though. Like, maintaining this, but maintenance is progress. I screwed this up when I was trying to explain it to the girls the other day, because I came up with an analogy for this. But in screwing it up, I came up with 3 analogies. So let's think about tango dancing. It takes 2 to tango. 1, the coach, 1, the client. That's 1. I'm going to say the 2 wrong ones first. The other one was, it takes 2 to tango. What was it? It was nutrition and, no, it was your progress in itself, the physical progress and the mental progress. But, like, it takes 2 to tango. You need the physical and the mental. That was the wrong one as well. The right one that I was meant to say is, it takes 2 to tango. Your nutrition needs to be with your training. But when you can't be consistent with those, what does tango, like, the music goes on, the dance always goes on, like the Phantom of the Opera. Freaking love that show. But it must go on. The show must go on regardless. So if you can't be there physically with your nutrition and your training, the music is still playing. You need to show up every single day. if you can't dance, the music is still playing. Work on that mindset, because that is progress. That is where everyone slips up, and why people are still stuck and believing Dr. Oz and freaking keto and that you should cut out your bloody carbs. Like, why do people believe this shit?
Mm-hmm.
Because they haven't seen the power of the mindset, because it doesn't show big changes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and that kind of goes back to what we were saying about the dimmer switch rather than the on and off switch. So think of it rather than, okay, I'm either completely on my plan or doing whatever it is that I'm doing, or I'm not doing any of it. So how can you strike that? I hate the word balance, but how can you strike that middle ground? How can you choose to live in the gray and just stick to some daily non-negotiables, or dial down the intensity of the ones that you were doing on a daily basis? So, and if it used to be like, okay, well, I get 10 to 12,000 steps a day. All right, that feels like too much right now, but I'm going to commit to at least going for one 30-minute walk. Maybe I'm not getting all the steps, but I'm still maintaining the momentum. I'm still checking the boxes. I'm still showing up for myself and telling myself through my actions that I am a consistent, reliable person, and that this is a part of my identity. Not that it has to be something that I get back to when life's circumstances, like when all the stars align.
I wrote a really good article. I don't usually write articles, but I actually wrote a really good article a couple of days ago, and I had a few good comments on it that I made a little video out of it, but I haven't posted it yet. But it's about minimum effective dose. If you can't move 10 bricks a day, just move one.
Hmm?
Oh, but what's the point? It's just one. That's not going to make a big difference in the wall. Like, I already have to travel all the way over there for just one damn brick. Yeah, mate, you do. What are you going to do? Wait for one of 3 opportunities in a year to actually get your shit together and move 10 bricks at once until you can't move them anymore, and then end up not really doing anything, because weather like this, flooding would flood that brick down, flood what you've already built down by the time you start again, and then you really are starting from scratch.
Hmm.
Like, you need to be okay with that minimum effective dose.
Hmm.
And if you can't get comfortable with just moving that little bit, like, that's life. And I don't know who here knows the law of entropy, because it's kind of like a science, like the science law of entropy is everything moves to a messy state. It's almost like when you clean up your room, before you know it, there's clothes on the floor again. There's shit everywhere. Like, you can't control the state of chaos, because it's just going to move back to a state of chaos. That's life. And until you learn to dance in that, do you want to sum it up?
I mean, that's a really good one. I've never even heard of that, but it's so true. It definitely is. But I mean, just like, let's just think of it logically, right? And because all the people that we work with, the people listening to this video, ourselves included, we're smart, intelligent people. So if we really think about it, what what is the better solution? To keep going one foot in front of the other, like you were saying, moving one brick at a time, even if it's not full intensity, or not doing anything? Which of the two options is going to get you closer to your goal? Same thing with when you overeat. If you just keep digging after 300 calories over your target, then not so much damage. Maybe you ended up still in a deficit. Maybe you ended up like right around maintenance. But if you say to yourself, well, already screwed up, might as well keep going, and now you put yourself in a 1,000-calorie hole, well, does that really make sense? No. So I say, you can recommit at any time. But yeah, just stop what you're doing. If you've overdone it, get back to it. And if you feel like you are in a state of your life or a season of your life where you don't have the time, the energy, the capacity to devote like 100% to your habits, then just dial them back a little bit. And as things get easier, you can dial the intensity switch up again.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually the best way to end it. And if you haven't, Marcy, checked out my amazing dinner last night, you need to go check it. It was freaking
Oh,
delicious. But that that's turning on that as well. Like one day, I'm probably guessing I went over like 500 calories yesterday. I think I hit like 3,400 calories. I don't know, but it's like one day like that isn't going to set you off track. It's you flicking the on and off switch.
mhm.
So
And it's 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. Those accumulate, and then the
yeah,
longer, the more of those days you string together, the more your brain is just like, well, here we are again. Might as well stop.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna quote to end this. The quote: "It's what you do most of the time that counts. Just make sure that you put on the right shoes before you start the journey. As in, get your mindset right, because the
I love
rest will take care of itself."
Yeah. Beautiful.
Oh,
Have a good day. Bye.
you too. Bye, guys.